Hi, guys. Welcome to a really special episode because I have somebody that I've admired for very long. I've actually never met her before today, but we had a phone conversation, which was amazing. And she's a pioneer in brand building, in luxury retail in India. So we have Anita Lal, who is the founder of Good Earth India. I'm going to call you ma'am or Mrs.
No,
Lal.
you can call me AL.
Okay, so everybody in your team calls
Yeah,
you AL.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody calls her AL who works with her, which is so cool.
So I don't like to
You
be
don't
called
like ma'am.
ma'am. So they call me AL.
I think AL just automatically brings this nice familiarity and
Closeness.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
And does it keep you young?
Absolutely.
I know your time is very precious because you're always traveling. When I called her, she had just come back. She was just leaving. You're a very busy lady.
I am, and thank the Lord for it. I mean, imagine if I didn't have all this, what would I do? It keeps me, let's say, it keeps me young, it keeps me interested, it keeps me occupied, it keeps me curious. And I must say, over and above, I just love working with all the people I have around me. And that is for me the real blessing.
But you know why you're such an inspiration? You don't have to work this hard.
That's true.
So I have an aunt, she's really funny, and she came to me and had a heart-to-heart a few years ago. She was like, I don't understand why you work so much. Yeah. She was like, what is the reason? She's like, if I were you, I would just relax. So this is what I feel, like you don't have to, especially now, when a lot of women, like even my mom, she's like a lady who lunches and she's doing her thing. And you don't have to do this.
When you say relax, that's the strange word. If you come up and see my studio where I work on my iMac, that is my relaxation. So that's what I don't watch movies. I don't watch all your TV or whatever.
Shows?
No. No.
Really?
I read, no, nothing.
So working is your mode of relaxation?
It is completely, and I do read. So I read a lot.
Yeah.
That's all. And yes, and then it's work. And work is just mostly creation, yeah.
We have so much to learn from you because you built an iconic store. It started with one store, right?
Yeah.
Now it is like stores are everywhere and it's online. It's like a giant of a brand called Good Earth. We have so much to learn from you because it was made a very long time ago. I think you're celebrating 28 years?
30, yes. 29.
29 years.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an iconic store for India. Literally, when people come to India, I'm like, please just go to Good Earth because they need to buy something which is very India, but still sophisticated and still like high-end and luxurious. First of all, how did you come up with the name Good Earth? It's a beautiful name.
First of all, the funny thing is that it was almost 30 years ago. I was about 48 years old already. My daughter had got married, Simran, and I used to do pottery. I was working with potters. The retail experience in India way back, there was no retail experience. You just had a shop. You walked in, you bought what you liked. Hitkari was the crockery that you had, and there was just so little. And I just thought I want to bring some kind of joy into the way we go to shops. I had lived in Germany. I had seen how beautiful they look over there. And I always thought that I'm just creating a small little niche little boutique for my joy. I never thought of it as business. I still don't, surprisingly. And in fact, sometimes I wonder, why did we ever grow so big? Because, that has then its own challenges, as you can imagine.
Of course, yes.
The name Good Earth was actually, surprisingly, my father-in-law had named the company. He started tractors, and he had named the tractor company Aisha Good Earth. So it was called the Good Earth Tractor Company or something, Good Earth, something or the other.
Okay.
And the Good Earth came from the book that Pearl Buck had written many years ago, The Good Earth. Today, when people are so conscious about sustainability, about earth, about things, it was something we started thinking about 30 years ago.
A long time ago. It was always a part of your DNA.
Yeah.
Good Earth started with homeware only?
Homewares, yeah.
It started with
Actually, it started
soft
pottery.
furnishing? Only pottery?
Well, just large pots, which I was working with rural potters.
Yeah.
So we started hand painting some crockery, and that's how it started. And then we thought you must have some textiles, and then we thought, we must put some candles.
So it just got layers.
It just layered, and then glass, and that's how it got.
Where does the inspiration come from?
Things that you instinctively love, colors that you love, motifs that you love. For me, the Mughal motifs have been a great inspiration, I must add. 30 years ago, we didn't have access to either internet.
How did you do research?
Exactly. And so I didn't even know much about them. I knew they were beautiful. And then came the most wonderful exhibition in 1996, just the year we were starting. The Bachanama was brought from the museum from England to the National Museum here. I think Windsor Castle had it. So the Bachanama, which was really the works of Jahangir, the actual miniatures were put up in our museum here.
Wow.
And really, you have to see the real thing even now. Even no photograph does it justice. But when you see the real paintings, the refinement, the quality, the color, that's when I realized that there is an aesthetic which can be very luxurious, which can be very sumptuous. But the hallmark of the earlier Mughals was that it's also very restrained. They knew how to restrain,
yes,
and yet be opulent.
Yes.
So it was a beautiful balance of opulence, of restraint, symmetry, of color. And their colors also, they started using pastels and beautiful, old rose. And of course, it was mixed with black and white stripes and everything else. But that was really my inspiration, if you ask me.
It was probably one of the most beautiful eras that India went through.
That's
in terms
true.
of beautification of like
in
buildings
terms of aesthetics,
yeah. And it was such a beautiful time. So yes.
But along with it, India also carries many other traditions, and whether it was the beautiful Vedic tradition or the Buddhist tradition, I then delved into all of those.
You got into everything.
And yes, we have a whole series called Lotus Suite, based on the whole Buddhist thing, on Sarnath, on the lotus.
Beautiful.
Then we did a whole thing called Kashi, and then we did Vrindavan. So we did them all. Then Ratnakara, which was the Indian Ocean. So then, I like to research and see what are the influences, cultural influences that India gave to the world and the world gave to India.
Right.
Because it's always a two-way
Exchange,
process.
Yeah.
Of course. So these are things that inspire me.
Well, that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you did it. An Indian made an iconic Indian brand from Indian history. Yeah. Because if you didn't, somebody from the outside would do it, because everybody loves to appropriate everything from India, right? Our paisley, our this has been taken by everybody.
They've done it already. I mean, what they call the chints, and they milked it to death.
They still are.
And it was called chint earlier, and it was from the Coromandel coast.
What is cheat? Can you tell me?
So cheat means
like
spot chitra. It means cheetah.
Cheetah.
So earlier, it was just they put cheetahs of color with a little drawing. That is what was called, they used to call it chint. Even today, if you go to Rajasthan and you see the women wearing the lehengas with the beautiful, they say chint ka lehenga. Abhi aap Hindi bhi sunoge, they'll say chint is what was the word for brilliant colored cotton with prints on it.
Okay, and they've taken that already.
I know, and then the English picked up, and they used to buy bales and bales of this. They couldn't say cha, so they would say cha, and they would call it in plural because it was not chint, we were taking bales of chints. So that's how the chints became chints. Okay. It comes from the word chint, yes. Yeah.
Now it's going to be 30 years of Good Earth. Are you happy with this journey? Because now you got into clothing.
Yeah.
During COVID, right after, you had done something stunning with these Indian handloom, and and I think Sonam wore the one that I was like eyeing.
We did a show called The Miniaturist, where we used Gota. So even in my clothing, we're now pushing more in that direction, but they're also more private, and we do it more in private ways because they're very, very special. We want to also, Purnia, have let's say, our point of view on clothing, and we feel that instead of everything being so heavy and so constantly, overpowering. And Gota is a beautiful tradition.
And it just looks rich on its own without anything.
And yet it's very light. So the idea is to bring lightness and yet sumptuousness into the clothes. And we're working on that, yes.
At least in the Delhi shop, you have a floor where it's become a multi-brand.
True.
You have lovely brands like 1111, Flow,
Raw Mango,
which kind of are in
Pero,
the Good Earth, belong in the Good Earth world.
Yeah.
And you sell them as well. So now it's like the business has become like multifold, right?
Actually, that was because when we started clothing, it was a very small line for us. And when people come, they want options, choices, which we were not able to give, actually.
Exactly.
And we thought, well, why not have similar-minded people who are doing sustainable clothing and like 1111, etc. So we like to keep them also.
So now this shop has really become a one-stop shop. If
Well,
one visits India, they don't have to go anywhere else. Just go to Good Earth, guys.
well,
Buy your stuff and go back.
now we're heavily into fragrance.
I heard.
Yes,
There is no stopping you. Now you're into fragrance. I want to know about this fragrance that you've started.
I mean, why has no one done Indian scents to the world?
Aren't Ithars like very famous and a big part of our...
No longer, no?
Or they used to be very famous.
Absolutely, they were.
Are Ithars like oud? Like, because they're very strong. The smell is very strong and they're oil-based? Or is that not true?
No, everything is true.
Achha.
Oud is only one ittar, or oud is only one part of ittar. That is, you can have ittar of roses, you can have ittar of jasmine, mogra, you can have khas ka ittar. Ittar is a way of extracting the natural oils of a plant or a wood or a flower and mixing it in sandalwood.
This is a part of Indian history since when?
Even Mohenjo-daro, they saw that there were stills in India, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, subsequently, it went up and down, but even South India had its own. Sandalwood has been part of our scenting rituals. When you go back to Kama Sutra, you see that they talk about, a lot of it is about how you scent your body, how you flavor your mouth, what you do. So these are all things which were being done long ago in India. So I felt that we needed to bring that to the world as well. And that's how I started my brand called Leela Noor.
Yes. And I was stalking the Instagram page of Good Earth and I was like, Leela Noor, this looks amazing.
So for me, Leela is the celestial play of the Vedic, from our Vedic world. And Noor is the divine light from the Arabic world. And I wanted to
merge the two.
Put the two together to say that's what we are. We're a mix of everything.
Yeah.
And so Leela Noor is my fragrance for the world. It's won a great number of awards because it's a niche brand.
Right.
And now we want to relaunch it.
So there's no stopping you because you have this Good Earth growing. Then there's Leela Noor. And now there's a stunning hotel
called
Sitara in the Himalayas, which I was dying to go to last year, but inshallah this year I will
we must
go.
Come. It's just a year old.
When I saw the website, I was like, it doesn't even look like a hotel. It looks like a haven.
But it isn't a hotel. It is a haven.
Yeah.
It is a sanctuary. It has only 10 rooms. I tried getting different hoteliers to come and run it, but I couldn't agree with how they wanted to run it. So in the end, I'm running it.
How do you want to run it?
Like a home.
Like a home. Yeah, like a 10-room mansion.
Yeah, it is. So then, so now you feel that because that's got the same vibe. In fact, this year, the Relais and Chateau have added us to their list of hotels of the world. Yes,
that's a huge validation.
Yeah, it is. This was without even us knowing it. They approached and said we've been hearing from people, etc., etc.
Wow.
And so from July this year, it's a Relais and Chateau property.
I mean, I know what makes it so unique is definitely the location.
Yeah,
above Manali, right?
And it's en route to the Rohtang.
Okay. And the way you've made it is that every room has these stunning big floor-to-ceiling windows of just the view.
Yeah.
So you can just be in the mountains while still being indoors. It's
true. And the bedrooms are all hung with lovely Banarasi silk with the lovely Buddhist medallion.
Yes.
And so each room has its own color. The colors I've taken from Pahadi miniatures.
Yeah.
So each room there is a Sarovar room, which is aqua. There is a Buranj room, which is a beautiful deep pink red, something like this.
Yeah.
So each room has its own character.
You have a signature because even with the perfume, even with this hotel, you do feel the stamp of Good Earth, or let me say the stamp of AL everywhere, because you can tell it's from the same universe.
What I wanted to do, Panya, and it was just a little wish, but that's what desire was, that however we live in India, whatever we create in India, to have Ahmetiyat in India. Now,
yes.
Ahmetiyat is a lovely word that has guided me a lot. And the word Ahmetiyat means
value,
relevance,
and
value.
Yeah,
both.
Yeah.
Ahmetiyat has to have relevance. It must be Ahmetiyat, and it must add value.
Right.
So we felt that I want to create something where from the minute you wake up, we do 600. Nobody even knows it because we've not been able to do it in the stores so well. But in Sitara, you see it. You sleep on bed sheets which are pure white, which are 600 thread count. Yeah. You have the right kind of pillows. You have soya pillows, soba pillows, all kinds. Then you wake up to rose water, pure rose water, which I pick up.
I need to go there so
Yeah.
badly. I can't tell you.
Pure rose water.
Yeah.
Then we have a lovely awakening oil in the morning called Clarify. The room has a lovely coniferous scent. Then from your cups to your mugs to whatever comes to you, everything's from Good Earth. So that way we get to show people how
All your products
Yeah.
are going into context
Correct.
in like a home, in like how it should be displayed and used. And
Correct.
It's so smart.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it
you've
was all
obviously-
accidental, but yeah.
You've done all of it out of love because this is your passion, but it's so smart because you're showing people how to use what you're making.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they visit,
I mean, everything is like that. When you're
When you're-
setting up a place, it was very, very
so
convenient.
you did the interiors of Sitara?
Completely.
It's called Sitara Himalaya, right?
It's just a shell which was standing for 7-8 years. It was used to very often, the roofs would I went through the usual
I can
nonsense.
imagine, yeah.
And up in the mountains with the snow and the rain and all.
But you look into every detail. So when we had our phone conversation and I was like, please do this and all, she was like, yeah, I'm just heading to Sitara because I want to check the landscaping. And I was like, okay, you're clearly into every detail.
Although the landscaping of Sitara, I had the most wonderful lady.
Yeah?
And I went with her.
Yeah.
But it was more to be with her. But oh, yes, we're creating a huge conservatory there.
Have you focused on the food as
Yeah,
well? Because that's
when
the
you-
other passion in life is food also.
When you come, you'll see the
Yeah.
kitchen. The kitchen is the heart of Sitara.
Yeah.
And most often people have breakfast and dinner in the kitchen
Oh,
along with the staff.
lovely.
Yes, there are places in the kitchen. And the food is comfort food. Of course, you get lovely fresh trout. You
All
get
the
everything.
produce is so good in the hills. No?
Yeah. And then we grow our own vegetables. Yeah, it's quite lovely.
Is this like your joy? Like my dad says, and like a lot of people, they're like, the best life is that if you can keep working and doing what you love till the day you die.
If you love what you do, then it's not work.
It's not work. So is this what your
Yeah,
plan is? To just
absolutely.
keep creating and making amazing things?
Well, I should stop
forever?
creating new brands. My family, my children, my son, they roll their eyes and they say, Mom, for God's sake, stop it. Yes.
But the truth is there's no stopping
Well,
you.
actually, we're opening a store in Dubai. And
You know how inspiring you are?
yeah.
It's amazing. Like if anybody tells me that, oh, why are you doing this? I'm going to be like, oh, excuse me, look at AL. She already has these things and she's starting this too.
No,
So
but
don't
it's
tell me.
actually very important for every human being
Yeah.
to follow things and do it with passion, whatever
Yeah.
we do. Because what the results are, we know we can't predict. I mean,
Or control.
Or control.
You can just do your
But
best. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the journey which counts. And the journey is your journey. It's
Yeah.
nobody else's.
Yeah. I don't know if people tell you, but you are rare. You are exquisite. You are very inspiring. So how did you become this person who is so inspired and passionate, hardworking, has so much perseverance to see these brands through and to grow such an iconic brand like Good Earth to what it is? How did you become this person? Like, where was your childhood?
My parents were refugees from Pakistan.
Okay.
And they actually got married in June of 47. They came to India for their honeymoon to Manali and they never went back. The country in July got, yeah.
But thankfully, at least they didn't have to do that travel because that would
No,
have been
but
really
other
bad.
families of ours did suffer. But my parents stayed on the side, but they lost everything they
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
You know. So then my father was then teaching. They got him a job as a lecturer. Then he was teaching English. Then he was teaching English to the cadets in Clementown and then in Karakwasla. So when I was born, I grew up in a very happy environment. I lived in a place called Karakwasla, which is in Pune.
Okay. So
National
Maharashtra.
Defense Academy. Yeah,
Okay.
Maharashtra. We could run where we liked. We could cycle, swim.
Yeah, Pune at that time was a small town.
No, this was not in
Not
Pune.
even Pune, outside
This
of
was a
Pune.
little bowl of National Defense Academy, which was even more secured, you know. I don't think our parents ever knew where we were, what we were doing. And, it was just a very, very carefree childhood. Maybe that was one of the reasons.
100%.
Yeah.
I think because you were allowed to use your time
Yeah.
to think and
Catch
dream
tadpoles,
and,
run around, do
exactly, and
anything
to
we liked.
experience
Yeah,
life
yeah.
instead of being worried about
Yeah,
things.
in big cities, it's not so easy. I mean, it's
And then you raised your children in Delhi.
yeah. Then I got married and I've been in Delhi ever since. Yeah.
And where were your parents from in Pakistan?
So my mom was from Lahore and my
Okay.
dad was from Jhelum.
Okay.
And I've never been there. And
Really?
I feel so sad. I know.
Lahore is a beautiful city.
I know.
And so much history in Lahore.
I know. One is sad, but
Yeah.
that's life.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, that period was just rough on everybody who was
On every-
involved.
yeah.
Okay, now since a lot of people do look up to what you've done and built and still are doing, What is the advice you'll give to new people who want to create something like a lifestyle brand like Good Earth? Would you call it a lifestyle brand? Is that how you would
we
refer
say
to it?
it's a style of living. The idea is to be able to live in a home where you can be surrounded by things which are made by hand as far as possible, things that are giving encouragement to craftspeople, to the best of Muradabad, Firozabad. We have it all.
Yeah.
And it should have Ahmetiyat and have, as you rightly said, be rooted in the way we live. I mean, I like even like this divan that I've made is something you can put your feet up on, things like that. The way we live in India. So yeah, it's a style of living, is what I call it. Yeah, it is.
Everything in Good Earth, all the products that are made in different pockets of India where the
Correct.
specialty is in
Yeah.
that particular
And
thing.
yeah, and
So
then put
block print will
together.
happen in Jaipur.
Jaipur,
This will
absolutely.
happen in
Yeah,
Hyderabad.
yeah. We're working very closely with people in Bhuj. I've got a heritage foundation, and we're doing a lot of work with various NGOs. I even helped the handloom school a lot during its inception. And now we are working with Khamir in Bhuj. And right now we did a workshop with them. We're doing many things. In Kashmir, I'm working on a workshop for doing papier mâché to use it as boxes. So we want to increase the way all the craftspeople where they can
Get jobs?
yeah, well, jobs is not right the word, where their skills are being used to be relevant in the way we live today.
When you're using certain techniques, like you said, paper mache, and the way you use it into product, you make that product cool and relevant.
Yeah.
In a store like Good Earth, which is considered cool
Yeah,
and beautiful and
yeah,
luxurious,
yeah.
that makes it relevant.
Correct.
And then there's a demand for it.
I wanted to do traditional things. We brought in copper jugs. Now you see copper jugs everywhere,
Right.
you know.
You do start a lot of trends in the home
It has
category.
happened, yeah. We even brought in dhuna, you know, the evening thing that we do with the incense, frankincense.
We call it something else, but वो पूरे घर में धुआं करते
धुआं
हैं
था
ना.
तो
It's
होता
supposed
नहीं
to cleanse the house.
correct
Yeah,
every
yeah.
evening. So
Luban, we call it Luban.
But Luban is frankincense. So there are many things. The dohar we also started off. Now we did tulai, which is a much lighter version of the razai for air conditioning. So I try and make it relevant to how we are living.
I think that's a really good way of supporting craftsmanship in India.
True.
So who is thinking of all these different things? कि let's add Luban now. अब एक हल्की रजाई बनाते हैं. अब हम ये करते हैं. I mean, because the categories are endless. AL, you have so many categories.
But that's all I do. I have no social life.
You and your Mac.
Yeah, I and my Mac. I'm in love with my Mac.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to advice now, how would you give people advice? Like if they want to start a style of living brand?
But yeah, it's as simple as how you breathe. It is what excites you. I never set up to make a brand. I didn't.
Yeah.
I just set up to create something.
Yeah.
And I was actually creating pottery. And with the pottery, I was studio potter. The children, when they used to go to school, I was sitting at home doing nothing. And I started going to Delhi Blue Pottery, you know, Mini Gurcharan Singh. This is way back.
Okay.
And I learned studio pottery.
Okay.
Then I thought, chalo, let me work with the rural potters. So it started like that. It didn't just start that I'm making a home.
It started slowly.
Yeah, it started slowly. It started things that excited me. Everyone says that if you have the intent, and the intent is of pure, of passion, of thing, the universe keeps finding ways for you to, you know, realize that, as you say, manifest things.
Yeah.
So it's the intent. And so whatever is your intent, that's what you follow.
You should not think about where it's going to go. You should think about why you're doing what you're doing.
If you're a smart business person, of course you can, but not for me. I mean, I wasn't that. I mean, if all kids who come out of smart business schools, they know right away what to do, how to do it, what is happening. But this I'm talking about a housewife who didn't do any of this.
No, it's not just that. If it's a creative business, it's very different. It cannot be only led by numbers and projections. It just cannot. So I like what you said, the intent is very important because it has to come up from a place, because I feel like luxury products and creative products and experiences are all about the feeling and the emotion you evoke in somebody, right?
Absolutely.
That's not going to happen through your number projections.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why the
start
intention,
from somewhere else.
Exactly, the intention is so important, and that for that creative process, right? So Yes, I completely agree with you. And that's very good advice.
People
Yeah.
are doing a lot of wonderful things.
Yeah.
India is full of energy, full of young people, full of
Yeah.
people who are, exploring their potential. And I feel so grateful sometimes, Pernia, to the freedom fighters who gave us this chance. I always remember that as well, because I come from that generation that has seen India when there was very little. And I see India today burgeoning with so much going on. And I think, oh, we must remember and thank our freedom fighters who brought this for their children, for their grandchildren,
Yeah.
so that we could be free to pursue, to follow our dreams, to,
Yeah.
create India in this way. I hope it flourishes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Who's the youngest person in your team? And what do you learn from them?
I've learned so much from them, how to be technically savvy.
I was just
So
gonna say, you kept saying it's you and your Mac. I guarantee you're more savvy with your
I
Mac than I am with mine. I have
well,
the
I can
oldest
tell you.
laptop. It barely works.
Oh, no, no, no. I have
I'm
the
sure you're
latest.
way
I have the
better.
largest,
Yeah.
latest. In fact, someone from Apple had come and said,
Yeah.
"Oh, you got this Mac?" I said, "Yes, it's the biggest, latest, strongest. It's specially made for me because I need so
Yeah.
much memory. And I do on PowerPoint more than most people can do on Photoshop." And that my whole team will tell you from
That's
them.
amazing because sometimes I'm still sending messages from my parents.
Yeah.
They're like, and I'm like, come on, like
Oh,
seriously.
I write all my notes on my phone. I do everything on my phone
Yeah,
or on
yeah.
my Mac.
What's the highest selling product category at Good Earth?
I think it's crockery. It's the
Crockery.
gifts, mugs, little petite platters.
Yeah.
Whenever anybody wants to take anything for anyone, it's the mugs.
Yeah, because
and
it's
the
very
petite
easy to
platters.
gift.
Easy to
And you
gift,
don't have to
yeah.
gift like with the mug, you can gift two and it's
Yeah.
still a nice gift. Or even one because it's for like personal
No,
use.
we have
Yeah.
a very sweet little now
Yeah.
demi-tasse cups with a little petite platter, and so yeah.
Yeah.
But it's mostly that. In fact, that is the other part. I feel very happy if you came and saw how we create our dinnerware.
Yeah.
The factory is beautiful. It's got a whole lot of women. Women are making it. Women in a beautiful environment. It's air conditioned and with big windows, and they have gardens like this outside, and they work so diligently and so nicely. And it's one of the nicest. The factory itself is very, very.
Where is the factory
It's
for?
in Balabgarh.
Okay.
And so just creating the crockery is a joy that I see how beautifully it's done. Maybe that's something you should come and see one day.
I would love to see
Come.
it. Because I was going through your Instagram and I was like, I need every single plate.
Yeah, good.
There was the yellow and there was a beautiful floral and there was something with a tiger. And I was like, I don't know. I just need like every plate. And I was
And
thinking,
do you know, we
Yeah.
actually use pure 24 karat gold on all our crockery.
Really?
And pure platinum. Yes. It's something which surprisingly we have not ourselves said too much. It's written at the back.
Yeah, but why don't you promote that?
I know.
Because it'll justify the price.
I know. That's the part we're not very good at.
So basically, Good Earth was garden core and cottage core. These are two very big trends for the last, whatever, 2-3 years.
Meaning?
Like what I'm wearing this dress today, like could be under cottage core. So it's like you know how those old cottages, their vibe, or garden core means like when you're wearing something which is like floral and so
Okay,
these
I
are
don't even-
trends.
I see.
These are trends. You basically created these trends. Okay, you are this trend. You were these trends before these trends were even a thing. So
yeah, well, we didn't have Instagram and we didn't have all of that. So,
yeah.
In fact, see, a lot of my inspiration, as you'll see around you,
Yeah.
comes from nature.
Yeah.
And what is we call one Vaibhav. And one Vaibhav is another beautiful line in our Vedas. And it says, the splendor of the rising sun, the moon, the stars, the birds, the animals, the trees, the water. And we humans are a part of the same splendor.
Yeah.
And when we leave that and when we forget about it, we start losing ourselves. So you have to be connected with nature to keep the wellspring of your energy, creativity stays. That's why you feel people want to go for holidays up to the mountains, to the ocean, to the forest.
To get-
Because that is
Yeah.
our natural habitat. That's where we came from.
That's true.
So I like to bring that into my design as well.
Good Earth is all of
Yeah.
that. It feels like you've brought everything from the outside inside
Yeah.
into
So that's
these
the idea,
products.
to bring nature into the world.
Okay, so besides Good Earth, of course, like I said, it's iconic. It's my number one recommendation when my friends come from outside of India. But besides Good Earth, if you had to recommend, say, 2, 3 nice stores or brands for people traveling to India, which, like Good Earth, have a really strong Indian aesthetic, but they can still get product which is of good quality, which is, all those things are important as well, which is a luxury item, but still very Indian. Which are the other brands that you like, that you've noticed over the years that you would recommend to people?
I would say a lot of textile brands.
Yeah,
People,
yeah.
I mean, like for example, to my mind, one of the ones I admire the most is Raw Mango.
Yeah, I love raw mango.
Yeah.
I had him on last season.
I always tell him, I say, Sanjay, you've done what no one could do. Single handedly, you made the handloom sari a fashion statement.
Yeah.
And you had Indian women wearing with pride handloom saris.
Yeah.
Now, to do that, you need to be a genius,
Yeah.
and which he is, mad but genius. And yeah, totally. And you have to be mad. That is Sanjay. That's all of us.
Yeah.
You're passionate. We talk sometimes. He says, "Oh, I'm doing too much. I'm tired. I'm fed up, but I can't leave it. I have to do more. I have to do
Yeah,
more." So,
yeah.
we are all like that. So that's one, I would say. What other brand? It's mostly clothing. I'm home. I don't really know. I just don't know who's. Unfortunately, Panya, I must tell you, there's so many copycats.
I was going to ask you about this. What do you do with the copy
Sometimes, no,
market?
India has no laws. And so sometimes people copy to the point where they don't even change the photograph. They put the same photograph. And there's nothing you can do. So it's a bit frustrating.
Oh,
And there's
God.
nothing you can do because it takes me 2 years sometimes to create a dinner set. And then you see a cheaper version out there. But
But I had Gaurav Gupta, who's a designer.
Gaurav's another
Yeah,
lovely
yeah.
guy.
He's lovely. So I had him, and he said now he's taking a lot of them to court. And he said the IP laws are getting better, and he's doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I find it's too time consuming.
It's too tedious.
too
You'd rather
tedious.
create.
Yeah, we rather just carry on. And maybe when the laws are actual genuine, then we'll see. But right
Yeah.
now, it's not worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But is it disheartening or is it a compliment when
It's a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Bit of both. Sometimes it's very annoying.
Yeah.
And sometimes we say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So so they are, you have to be flattered that they all want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But so anything we do within a few months, few weeks, we know it'll be out there again. So yeah, that's how
Oh
it is.
gosh. And you know which people are those that are
I
copying.
don't pay any attention. I don't even look at Instagram, anything. Yeah, the girls send me occasional photos. I don't want any negativity. I don't want to clutter my mind. I've got enough going on, and I leave it to each person to do what they have to do. I'm not going to get into it.
What do you do to stay like this? Like for your mental health? Like you seem very clear-headed, very positive, and extremely productive. So what do you do
So
to
then the main thing is that you have to keep yourself. I feel that if you can remove negativity from within you for anything, as I said, even if someone copies you or someone says something's not so nice about you, I mean, it's natural to be hurt for a while, but if you don't make it into an ego issue, if you can go beyond yourself, because in the end you realize you're very little and you're very big, I
Yeah.
mean, you're a drop in the ocean, but you're the ocean in the drop,
Yeah.
as Rumi says. So when you stop taking yourself too seriously, when you stop taking your ego too seriously, when you just also stop negative thoughts towards anybody or anything, it frees you.
Yeah.
You're free. You're free to do what you like.
it's so nice in theory, but it's like one needs to really
No,
practice it.
but it's not as though it happened to me overnight.
Yeah.
These are only intentions. If that's what you want to do, and that's what I wanted to do, and it might have taken me 15, 20 years, but you get there.
You get there.
I mean, different people have different needs and different internal, urges also. But for me, I just wanted to do something where, you read, and it's no point reading books if you don't start living,
Practicing what
practicing.
you're maybe learning or imbibing in those books.
Yeah,
Those books.
if you read, because after all, everything's there. And I'm not
Yeah.
telling you anything which is new.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you have to start living it at some point,
Yeah.
and it happens.
It happens. Okay, last question. Your top 3 travel destinations to find inspiration as a creative director or as a creative person.
One of my top travel destination was Kashmir.
Yeah.
It is the most inspiring place ever. It is, sublime. And I would say that. Another destination that for me has been very inspiring is the countries around the Silk Route. So we went to one year we went to Samarkand, then we went to Fergana, and we went to all of that. That was very inspiring, I would say. And you're saying three. Well, the third is, I would say, the ocean. That's also something I we go very often to the Maldives and stay at Suneva, and that's also very, very inspirational. The colors of the ocean, the beauty, the wild flowers, etc. So I would say the ocean, Kashmir, and the Silk Route.
Amazing. First, I need to go to Sitara.
Yes.
And then I'm going to head to the rest of them. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. This is such a
Welcome.
pleasure. I know this is not something you like to do, but thank
No,
you
no,
so
it's
much.
okay. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you. And everyone's going to love this. I know it. Yeah. I'll give you the feedback. I'll send it to your Mac, and then you can check it while you're
One of my
enjoying.
Mac.
Yeah. Thank you.